Aries, this is your December 2023 soul story. If you have a sun rising or your moon is in the sign, this reading might resonate. Thanks for joining me, tuning into the channel for our final soul story of the year. Appreciate all your support in the last 12 months. We're opening up your month of December, Aries, with the Emperor, and something about this month is not going to be as bad as you are anticipating, something close to home. It is important that you expect and set an intention for a better experience and really prepare your energy for that eventuality. December has a powerful healing current that is enabling more compassion, more empathy, and more harmonious opportunities to find resolution. Now, your Emperor wants you to feel more in control than perhaps, you're giving yourself credit for at the moment. It's always a highly charged, incredibly sensitive time of the year as we reflect back. And, you have really, in this last 12 months, been learning who you are as you simultaneously unlearn all that they have told you to be. And, as we enter into this, sort of final closing ceremony, if you like, of 2023, a lot of the vice-like grip that might have pervaded across different areas of your life is starting to lighten. And you should start to feel that maybe not across the entirety of your life at the moment, but there are certain areas, certain pathways where you are feeling more confident and more capable. Now, something's going to happen far sooner than you anticipated and expected through the course of December. And even though you don't have to be fully prepared, and in some ways I think the early arrival is helping you to find more flow and fluency in your life as a whole as we prepare for the new year. But also the Emperor tells me you're actually in a far stronger position again than what you are really seeing or believing. Okay, now Venus will shift into Scorpio from the 4th of the month. And remember, in this sign, we are igniting passion, we're igniting a level of intensity in those close personal relationships, also with what's going on in our prosperity, our money story, our sense of value. And, we're having this conversation that needs to come from an incredibly authentic, truthful place, but it's also giving the opportunity for a bit of a reinvention in these areas as well. So you've got the King of Coins along with the Emperor here. There's certainly some powerful approaches and positions that you're taking in regards to certain things. You have to love yourself through the temporary unsettled experiences. So many versions of you, Aries, have come and gone. And, to the degree that you reflect on how much of the old you is left, it's really time now to step more confidently into the ways that you've changed and, frankly, what's changed you. You are always being prepared for something more. And, I think one of the things that, both of these archetype energies are trying to help you to appreciate through December is that, you are either growing and taking root, or you're in the process of deconstruction, and that energy becomes transmuted and the lessons are then formed into new matter and new energy in terms of who you become. But what they both tell me is that there's a degree of mastery that you've achieved in regards to something. Now, there may be some fairly significant conversations that need to take place through the course of this month, and you kind of might need to have your wits about you in regards to that. What feels random this month is far from it. And it is all going to help you see things in a new light. Now, Neptune stations direct on the 6th, so that kind of helps to realign us, I think, with some of the dreams, the inspirations that perhaps got left by the wayside, or certainly didn't have the impact or the momentum that we'd expected. But you're in the process, and the progress that you've made in the process is significant, and you need to remember that, and you need to be giving yourself recognition and credit. Like, nobody, is expecting or asking you to be perfect. Yeah, no one's asking this of you. So you yourself need to ease up on the pressure. But some of these conversations that I see taking place, and there may be a little bit of power or control sort of being thrown around the place a little bit. We are aware of it and discerning of it, and yet we're still managing our emotional responses through the course of December. And remember, because I see that there's almost this convoy of gifts coming in this month, spiritually, emotionally, energetically. I don't mean on a material level. Now, you have the alchemist, the magician. This is exactly what I'm seeing, like in the balance of this very grounded, capable, confident, almost kind of pre-planned strategic energy. At the same time, there's the chaos that's around us, but your ability to be able to adapt, your ability to be able to work with what comes your way, your ability to be able to use what you have, what you've learned, who you've become. And there's almost like through the whole of December, this divine calling for you. I mean, we're activating 9th and 10th house, so that's not a surprise. But this divine calling, you're meant to take this up. You're meant to take it on. And, as you sit here and reflect and think about all of the things that are now revealing themselves to you in a new way, it's like pieces of the puzzle are starting to land and make sense. Now, when we arrive on the 12th of the month, not only do we have the 12-12 portal, but we've got a new moon in Sagittarius at 20 degrees. Uranus is sparking up some surprising conversations on this new moon. And, I think that's something to really keep an eye on for, because for you, like, it gives you the impetus and the drive and the kind of self-belief to say, like, actually, I can do this. And again, because I sense that something won't be as bad as you anticipate, there's an immediate relief that happens through December that then means around this new moon energy, before, on and kind of the days after, as something unexpected sort of lands in front of you, you're just feeling more up for it, because I think the thing that you thought was going to perhaps like be taking so much time and energy isn't, really unfolding in that way. And so it leaves you a little freer. And that's quite exciting, because there is this sort of bubbling up of like, oh, right, I get to think about this. I get to go explore this, or really start to set intention and make some plans towards this. Now, let's bear in mind that we also have Mercury stationing retrograde on the 12th. So most of the planets are now moving forward, but our final Mercury transit of the year, which really does remind you that it's probably going to be helpful to certainly order gifts early if you're thinking about the holiday season, and for travel plans, maybe just having like a couple of plan B options, just so that you can be a bit flexible should there be any interference that comes your way. Son of Swords coming through here. And of course, we have a sort of returning energy with Mercury retrograde. And there's something specific. And it's interesting because it starts out in Capricorn. It will then move into Sagittarius on the 22nd in its backspin. But, with this sort of power dynamic playing out, and then that Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, I feel like we perhaps are revisiting where we've been challenged previously in regards to how sovereign we can be, our ability to make our own independent decisions, and perhaps conversations that need to be readdressed, or we pour back over the details of something. So I think it can be quite valuable for you, although we always remember that during that time, sometimes the communication can get a little bit lost in translation, and with the sort of chaos around the alchemist there, I'm also feeling like we might have to almost repeat several times, or ensure that a specific message has reached somebody, or have the conversation like over and over, just to ensure everybody's kind of on the same page. Because I just have a sense that you might be experiencing something where you thought everybody was on board and knew your wishes, your thoughts, or what your intentions were, and then actions seem to be going kind of in the opposite direction, and then there seems to be some confusion around that. So keep an eye out for that kind of an experience. But we also have, the change coming through with that Knight of Swords. And again, I think there's something quite powerful here, because it's almost as a catalyst from something that you say. And, because I see something arriving sooner than you'd expected, it's almost like there may be a conflict that arises from that within you or directly with somebody else. But I think that opportunity actually ends up creating a pathway for deeper, more peaceful understanding, even intimacy perhaps, depending on the situation. And, I think that this is part of something that, you were meant to experience before the end of the year. December is very much about healing, resolution, making peace, accepting, acknowledging. So we're not dragging into 24 any sort of heaviness or resistance, that we're just not necessarily saying that we liked, the things that we've had to experience or endure, but that we can, acknowledge and look it directly in the eye and say, yeah, okay, that happened and it changed me, and maybe I'm still processing, I'm still figuring it out, I'm still coming to terms with it, but I accept that it happened. And I think this is going to really support the way in which you're able to receive some of the things that are coming through. And he is in a bit of a rush, and I do want to say, it's not about how fast you move and how fast you grow, but it's about how well you move, with intention, with integrity, and insight that's firmly rooted in your well-being as well, Aries, as you're on the way to where you're trying to get to, or the direction that you're feeling compelled to move towards. So we make our way toward Capricorn energy. The sun arrives in the sign on the 21st, and then we have Solstice to celebrate that moment of stillness. And Mercury as well will kind of bring a slight slowing down energy. It's natural at this time of the year anyway, that we're just looking for a little bit more space to be able to reflect. This is a year certainly where in many instances you will want to detach more from the frenzy, the consumerism, this just sort of craziness of what's sort of thrown at you, and the consumption of all of that just feels a little bit more icky this year. I think there's a desire for it to be more stripped back, more simplified, to gain a greater degree of presence. You've got the Hermit coming through here, and that beautiful light shining down, so the gift of something being brought forth to you, and that awareness, I think, that comes from it also helps you to find a way. And it might just sound to you incredible that you could even contemplate this, but to find a way to actually build a bridge or have a conversation or face something that you have been completely adamant was just not even on the table. So there is this kind of softening, this dissolving of something that was hard, and through that just an ability to be able to be like, well, you know what, and I'm not even necessarily doing this for someone else, but this is for me, what I've come to understand about myself, and the willingness that I have in terms of the way I want to keep moving forward, and sort of releasing that old version of me, and with it all of the energy that I've been holding on to. So it sort of puts you in a very leveled place where there's humility that comes through as well, that helps support forgiveness or an opportunity to just make peace with something, even if we agree to disagree, or if we find you know what, I really don't understand or like what happened, but it is what it is, and I want to draw the line. And it's sort of that kind of a feeling that I think comes as a result of the deeper self-inquiry, if you like, of the Hermit. And perhaps this you're trying to speed up, and then you suddenly realize, like, why am I doing this? Why am I robbing myself of the presence of today? So you yourself are making kind of powerful calls to yourself, like all through the month of December, that really demonstrates to you just how much you've changed, how much you've grown, and will really support and facilitate like the decisions and the way that you come across as being incredibly strong. Like, I don't think anyone's in any doubt that actually what you say you really mean, like through the month of December. Like, that's, you know, that gravitas and that weight of it is really kind of showing up here. So through solstice, of course, we want to just allow that seasonal realignment to take place for us, and we take stock. And, you know, I've got a beautiful closing out ceremony for the year that you might like to check out, along with a lovely journey of affirmations. So if you have like more tricky, complex scenarios, particularly like with families, loved ones around this time of year, or you're dealing with scarcity, you know, these affirmations are something that's going to really support you to, again, can enter into this month in a more peaceful, intentional, you know, and expecting better. So you'll find the links to that in the comment and description box underneath. Now, we've got the Chariot powering through here. And for me, isn't it interesting that they're kind of going in different directions? So it's like, I feel like you could change direction. So like you're moving off in one way, and then this Hermit energy kind of locks you in and says, hold on, what matters? What's important? What's meaningful here? What have we learned? What do you need to receive? And like I said, as you've learned who you are and unlearned all that they've told you to be, you make a U-turn, or there's like this new pathway that feels like far more aligned for you. And what's nice about this year, like all over this sort of holiday season, like there's more favourable aspects than we've dealt with in the last couple of years. Like on the 25th, Christmas Day, if you celebrate, Venus is trining with Neptune, a softer, more just almost inspirational kind of experience where what shows up just feels wanted. We then have a full moon in Cancer, and remember, it's the second full moon because we had a Cancer full moon back on January 6th. So, you know, cast your mind back, because this is almost like a further amplification, a further sort of deepening and strengthening of some of the things that you were invited to release, to let go of, and the revelations that, you know, were aroused. It's kind of like, okay, like what has changed, and how do I now feel about that? And this moon sextile to Jupiter, trining with Saturn, and also seeing Chiron station direct, the wounded healer, in your sign, is incredibly healing, incredibly cathartic, incredibly illuminating. And, you know, as it really highlights how secure you feel within yourself, around you, you know, there is like light at the end of the tunnel, I feel, and there's also like a way forward that's being presented and shown to you. Along with that, of course, as we make our way towards the 30th, Jupiter will station direct. And, you know, I always say when this happens, a gift will always arrive for us. Remembering my gifts, you know, coming through spiritually, emotionally, energetically, not necessarily a material one. Although with Jupiter and Taurus, it could well be like an unexpected, you know, arrival of something that feels more prosperous for you. But again, you know, those last few days of December are all helping you to feel a little bit more liberated, a little bit freer. And again, the whole point about being able to make peace, and for you having this divine calling that's just, you know, dragging you. Although I think you're willing, honestly, like I think you're willing. Even though you're kind of looking into the unknown and going like, I have no idea where this is going to take me. But yeah, okay, like let's get on board with this. Okay, so if you're new to the channel, our last 3 cards, Aries, we cover in the extended version of my reading. We'll talk for another 30 minutes or so. We'll also look at a personal question, a relationship card, and this month we'll do a quick preview, a major arcana for your year ahead, what we see as your card for the year ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and pull some clarifiers and see the direction that we'll be taking that reading. You can find the link in the comment and description box, and it is the way in which you can support my channel and helps me to keep showing up every month on YouTube for the free versions as well. So I really appreciate your support there. Okay, so we've got the Devil coming through. We've got the Queen of Swords. We've got Strength. I think there are some tricky characters around you this month, undoubtedly. And, you know, we know that this time of year, like, emotions are heightened. There's so much that goes on, isn't there? There's the consideration of what has and hasn't been achieved, you know, what's been gained, what's been lost, you know, coming back into contact with people that, you know, are a little bit more tricky for you to be around energetically. But, you know, we do have this sense of you being able to handle it, and really it not being quite the way you expected, and that being better, okay, that being more positive. I like another Magician coming through there. Queen of Wands, beautiful card for you. Six of Cups. You've got the Well, okay. All the decks that I use are also always listed below, okay, for your reference. So let's have a look at the oracles. Life Soul Vision, if you're new, of course, is my own personal deck. So please check out this sacred title along with my book. Keep in mind with Mercury retrograde. So if you're going to order for the holiday season, do it nice and early so there are no disappointments around shipment. I think that's always worth remembering. Okay, we have Golden Ribbons of Light. Eclipse Revelations, Destiny Speaks. Cosmic Rebellion, we've got the Equinox. Earth Medicine and Magic cast their spells. And Rise in Love, beautiful. Okay, a couple more to pull for Aries for the month of December. You know, we have to stay on track this month. You're going to be seeing so many things in a new light. We've got the High Priestess, Harnic Mystic Power, beautiful. And that can be helpful, especially if we're, you know, open and willing to sort of have these U-turns. You know, you're being prepared for something. So do expect that some of the random things that show up are incredibly intentional from a universe perspective. What do we have here? Telling stories. What words so tender can be spoken so bravely unless they are true from the truest of words? Okay, we will go into these messages in the extended. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. I wish you a really peaceful holiday season with you and your loved ones. I hope that you will come on to the extended. Please check out my closing ceremony for the year along with the affirmations to support you in your emotional experience in this sensitive time of year. But December is really bringing through a healing current, so I hope you're able to tap into that and experience the soul soothing from it. You take good care. I'll see you again in 2024. Bye for now.